Hey, today I'm talking about 3 films directed by these guys. I recently watched 2 of their films and really loved them. They really connected to me on a deep level. They're very slow and quiet and character driven and just exactly my vibe. So I decided to check out 3 of their films, and spoilers, I enjoyed them a lot. So the names of the 3 films that I am talking about today are 2 Days, 1 Night, The Unknown Girl, and Lorna's Silence. First up is 2 Days, 1 Night. This is a 2014 film starring Marion Cotillon, my 3rd one of hers. And the basic premise is she plays this woman who works for this installation company. And she has recently had a bit of depression that caused her to not be able to work. And her boss isn't a fan of that. And instead of just outright firing her, he decides to do the really malicious thing of putting it to a vote between her coworkers. And their choice is between each getting $1,000 or letting this depressed woman who's probably going to be really slow and can't do her job well continue to keep her job if she's even going to work at all. And so obviously people decided to take the money, but she convinces her boss to do a second vote after the weekend. So she has the weekend to try to convince the majority of her coworkers to give up $1,000 so that she can keep her job, and by extension her house and potentially her marriage, and keeping her kids fed and stuff and all that fun stuff. And it's just really good and really powerful, because it's just like, she goes to some and it's just like a hard no, like, fuck you, I need this money, I got bills to pay, I'm struggling to get by, and this is gonna save me. One person's like, oh, this is like a year's worth of utility bills. Another person's like, I really want a patio. Another person's just straight up like, fuck you, don't try to steal my money away from me, this is my money. Which it isn't, but whatever. And then it's just like, it's so depressing because no one's saying yes, but then you get some yeses and it feels good and it's great, and it's just like, yeah, no, it just works really well. Marion does a great job of leading this movie. She's a very strong lead. She does a really great job of like the little mannerisms of depression and stuff that was really impressive. It just works. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I definitely recommend it. You're in for a good, fun, sad time. So yeah, really good movie, definitely recommend. Next up is The Unknown Girl. This is a 2016 film starring that one lady from Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Not the main one, the other one. The one who's my age. And the basic premise is she plays this doctor who works in like a cheap clinic in not the best part of town. And then one day it's revealed that a young woman has died nearby. She may have been murdered, may have just been an accident, but she has no identification on her, so the police are trying to figure out who she is. And the doctor feels for this young woman because she's just like, her family doesn't know that she's passed, and so she wants to be able to give that relief to her family. So she takes it upon herself to find the identity of this young woman. And one of the things I really loved about this movie, I wasn't certain if we were going to get any information at all. Like, it definitely felt like a type of movie in which we would get 0 answers to any of the questions. Like, what happened to her that night? Who was responsible, what her name is, where she came from, all of that stuff, or if like the family was going to get to know. And I won't say if they did answer any of those questions, but I will say that like, because they did such a good job of making me uncertain of if we were going to get any answers, the answers we got were incredibly satisfying, and that like, I'm actually really happy with how the movie ended, that it works really well for its themes and stuff. I will complain a little bit with this movie in that like, it kind of has some of the same issues that all of their movies do. When there needs to be a time jump, they're not the best handling it. It's just kind of like, oh, this feels weird. Oh, some time has passed. That wasn't the most clear. And it happens a few times in this one, so that's a little disorienting. Also, she made like a big life choice change, and it felt like it happened off screen and I didn't really understand it, but I can really easily look past both of those complaints. This is, again, another really good movie that I would, again, definitely recommend. And lastly is Lorna's Silence. This is a 2008 film, and the basic premise is quite complex. So I'm gonna kind of spoil it because it's a little bit of a mystery, but yeah, anyway. So this Albanian woman is married to this Belgian junkie, and it turns out that she only married him to get a Belgian ID card. Her pimps kill the junkie, and then she can in turn mail some rich Russian so that he can get a Belgian ID, and then probably do that again with some other people to make more money that way. But it turns out she has a heart, and she feels bad for the junkie because he's trying to get better, and it seems like he's getting better, but her pimps don't like that she has a change of heart. So this movie's definitely good. It's definitely good and solid. My main issue was just that, like, all the other films, I was more easily able to connect to the characters. And I think that's partly because, like, I could either see, like, bits of myself within those characters, or I feel like I know people like those characters. Like, you know, struggling to keep her job, and the character who's just trying to find answers. This one, I mean, it's a character who has a lot of empathy and is just trying to do right by this person, which I definitely can get. But it's also just, like, it's such a... She's doing such a crazy thing of like frauding multiple governments. And it's just, I don't know, like it was just a difficult hill to get past. I think on a repeat viewing, I potentially would bump this movie up. This is definitely my least favorite of them, but it's still really good. In particular, the performances of the two leads. Well, Lorna's the lead, but then the guy who plays the junkie, who's actually he's in like half of their films, he gives a really, really good performance. He's probably my favorite performance of his so far. He just does a great job of the mannerisms of a junkie. So even though I didn't like this one as much as the other ones, I would still recommend this one if you're interested. It's a good, solid film. It's just, I personally wasn't able to connect to it as much as the other ones, but maybe you can. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got 2 Days, One Night, series number 38 in the Really Like section. And then after that is The Unknown Girl, series number 52, also in the Really Like section. And then bringing up the rear, not too terribly far behind, is Lorna's Silence, series number 86, at the top of the Quite Like section. And this is out of a total of 249 old movies so far this year.